meeting to order. Budget work session, August 17th, 2026 at actually 9:04 a.m. And this budget is to discuss the 2027 budget by departments. And we're going to start off with Superior Court Clerk. Katie, I'm going to be...
Well, this is just for 26 budget, if you don't have that, if you don't have all of those. That one. So,
Katie, I'm going to go ahead and, before you start, tell you me and Terry has self-recognized that we're both not in the best of moods this morning. We're grumpy, sorry. So we're grumpy in case we say something out of order.
Well, it's okay. As normal,
You're up for it.
I'm probably not in the best of best because I don't know if you heard about my Friday, but I'm sure it was probably a lot worse than y'all. And we had to displace juvenile court this morning once again because of the trial going over. So I have a jury coming in to start at 10, and judge is already here. They've already started doing the jury charge conference. So we kind of in 10 places at one time.
So you have the same thing this Friday, or this past Friday as you did the Friday before last.
Oh, yeah. And it's obviously beyond my control, but I voiced my opinion very loudly.
I'm sorry, because I know y'all had it handed to you for several weeks now.
Yes. Yes.
All right, young lady, you want to start off with, what's your first?
Susan, this is on the 26th.
that's all the 26, so just run through there and then you'll be able to find what coordinates with each one of her departments.
I've got 28 on top for equalization.
Board of Equalization.
Okay, that's what I got.
Okay.
I don't really see anything. Go ahead.
I don't really think that there was anything asked for that it was any extra other than, I mean, the two new members that were appointed, I don't even know that that's going to be a thing because they want to be on the board. They talk to me about being on the board, but then when it comes down time to doing the training and actually being on the board, they decide, I really don't think this is the right thing for me. So I don't know that we will have these two new members.
Board of Equalization.
Yes, and if you know of anybody who's interested, please send them my way because nobody wants to serve on the Board of Equalization. It's been advertised in the newspaper. It's just not something that somebody wants to sit through and decide on people's values of their property.
And we desperately need help on that board.
Yes.
It is a very...
We have one member, Madison County has one member that is up to date with training and will continue to serve. But finding even two other members to make a complete full board is like plenty.
What is the time commitment?
New members have to do a 40-hour training. They can do it remotely. They can go in person to do it. And then once they do that 40-hour training, it's an 8-hour class update every year. And then it's just a hearing. So, I mean, it may be 2 weeks out of the year, 8:20 to 5 o'clock. And sometimes it may not be that many. It just depends on how many appeals come from the assessor's office.
Actually, one of the greatest number of complaints that I receive are related to the Board of Equalization. It's from people out of county sitting on our Board of Equalization because the people in our county are interested enough to do.
Yes, they want to complain, but they don't want to serve.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's either us do an intergovernmental agreement with another county, to hold the hearings, or either you can not hold the hearings and have upset taxpayers and more civil cases than what we have, because they will be, you know, going for that, or you can pay a hearing officer to come in and hear all those cases, and their travel time is hour, so you probably pay about $600-700 a day for a hearing officer.
Just, and this is perhaps ignorance on my part, Katie, but with where we're at now in the county in transition as it is, with more people coming in, would it not behoove us just to use a hearing officer and just take this off the table?
Well, I mean,
Because we know what that's going to cost.
yeah, a hearing office would be substantial, and, I mean, if somebody requests a hearing officer, they can have a hearing officer, but usually it's not for properties under $500,000. But I mean, if the taxpayer requests a hearing officer, if it's something that's something that y'all would rather do, our Board of Equalization members get paid $100 a day. So that cost would be astronomical. And finding a hearing officer that could serve 2 weeks at a time, 8 hours a day, would be. But I mean, if that's something that y'all would be interested in, we have to look into it.
Well, even with and just throwing numbers around here, even if it cost us $1,000 a day for a hearing officer, for 2 weeks, we're still hitting $2,000 by what we're budgeting.
Well, that is for the entire year. So normally the initial hearings for Board of Equalization is about 2 weeks, but then you have to factor in if people, because they don't get to be in on the scheduling of their hearings. So if they want to reschedule, they're allowed one reschedule. So we have to compile those and do extra days for any of those that need to be rescheduled at a later time. So our first hearings may be, the last 2 weeks of August, and then once we get those heard and see how many reschedules we have from that, we may have 5 extra days of reschedules. It really just depends, but this appeal administrator, that's not actually for the board.
Yeah, the board's at the bottom there, 40,000 a year, usually.
And like last year, it says the actual was 15.
Among your peers, surrounding counties or our district or area, do any of them use a hearing officer?
In our circuit, obviously we do, but in other circuits, especially this year, there have been a lot of need for the intergovernmental agreements because they also don't have a full board. It's been an issue with the Department of Revenue to have them hold a training that is
Big
local,
problem.
because majority of the boards are retired and they don't necessarily, I'm not going to say they don't want to travel, but they are older and aren't really able to go into like a heavily populated city like Atlanta or to do those trainings, because they do a lot of them in, I'm trying to think of the name too, but it's like they do some in Marietta, they do some in South Fulton, and our members, well, the ones that we have, just weren't, I wouldn't want to drive with them through that part of Atlanta. So I can understand. And then they're older, so they're not necessarily computer savvy, so they don't want to do the online training either.
Okay.
She's talking about us.
Yeah.
I think what she's telling us, no, seriously, I think what she just told us is that the people we have on the board essentially are either not interested or not qualified. I mean, you know, we're among friends here, we can say that.
We have one member, that is, I mean, he's up to date with his training, he does the online training. But Franklin County Board is completely up to date, their training, that kind of thing. And they are all, I mean, younger. I mean, probably in their mid-40s to late 50s. But like our boards are, for what we had in the past, I mean, they were a little bit older.
Like, old like, no.
No, I would say they were
Or
older.
just old like me and not old like me. Is that what you say?
I would say they were older.
Most of them graduated prior to you being born. But in all honesty though, I know we discussed, or Dennis brought up
It's amazing, I didn't even see you bring a shovel to dig this hole.
Yeah.
Just trying to put y'all in better mood.
It helps, thank you.
But she's not picking on you, okay?
Well, in all honesty,
Her problem.
I mean,
that
would
she
y'all-
has, and I get that.
Would y'all wanna drive in South Fulton, like, and then you'd be done with class at 5 p.m. and then have to fight that traffic? Or would you wanna do a 40-hour class, virtually from 8 to 5 for a whole week in a row, sit in front of a computer and not necessarily be able to interact or ask questions and that kind of thing? I mean, it's not, it is beneficial to a point, but then to another point where somebody needs to understand something about how to get values for taxes, do percentages, and that kind of thing. It's not necessarily very beneficial because somebody might miss something, you might not be able to go back and ask questions at a later time. That's my personal opinion. I would prefer to be an in-person class rather than a virtual class.
classes aside, this is where we're at in 2026, and I know some people like it, some people don't. We're gonna end up with contract services. Population around us is not gonna get any better. The year that we used Franklin County, you did get a bunch of calls, but it's probably our best year ever of actually getting real values that wasn't manipulated.
I can honestly say that there were more for the assessors than not.
And
Last year.
what we found, what you're going to find in-house is you're gonna get the same repetitive measure of, I know that person, I think I need to help that person. The best move we ever made was hiring a judge that wasn't from this county to do municipal court, and therefore everybody started getting fair deals. So when Franklin County come in and done those, they didn't have a dog in the fight, so everybody got a fair appraisal. If you use in-house people, you're not gonna get it. In-house people's going away, aging out, not wanting to participate, we're gonna end up in contract. Only problem is, the people you were just talking about contract don't do 500 and below.
Right.
There lies your problem. If it's up to me, there would be a region lottery or a team set up that travels to each region and does it for each county, so I have to manage with the residents in this county. That's the fair way to do it. We saw that system manipulated. I've been here 5 years. I've been seeing it manipulated for years. I'll be honest, if I'm a woman and I'm paying taxes, come in and cry, you're gonna pay half. It's a fact. The reason nobody wants to do the job is because just like P&Z, you become a punching bag.
Mhm.
Because now that person's belittling you and you're making $100. Who wants to sign up for that? Nobody. Nobody. Unless you're Lee, because Lee takes a beating back there, but he keeps on coming on through it, so. Just to be honest, we gotta look at a different mechanism, but Katie, you by far know that this is a failing system that we have. All right, moving on.
So do we need to look at this before we set this budget, or we don't?
Well, you gotta look at something, you gotta find a scenario that would do under 500,000.
Well, we have the hearing scheduled for, September the 8th through the 18th are the weeks, and we have the Franklin County Board.
That's the only choice we have at this point.
It's either it's either have the intergovernmental agreement and have the hearings and have people probably not satisfied and upset, or just not do them and then be sued for not holding them within the time constraints that legislation states that they have to be held in.
The caveat that, Katie hadn't mentioned yet, and she might have just a minute if I don't jump the gun, is Department of Revenue. Their schedule for training is just asinine to even think about. We had them last year signed up, and they said, oh, we got people who wants to come on January 1, but we couldn't get them on January 1 because Department of Revenue says your training not till October.
The new training for, the new members for this year, the first, virtual was October.
For this year, the first training,
So
are you
we're
going to
gonna,
elected people in January or appointed?
so what we're gonna do this year is have the hearings in September and the trainings in October. That's what we just said. So we're gonna have people that,
If we had anybody.
If we had somebody, yeah, well, I mean, we have
Yeah.
one member, he has
That's
came
why you
in,
gotta borrow,
yeah,
because it's out of date.
Yeah.
he came, a new member, he is signed up. Whether or not he completes the training in October, I don't know, but he will make 2 members for Madison County. And that's still not enough
Yeah,
for a
3.
quorum, you have to have 3.
encourage, I mean, obviously, we're too far into this and too late in the year to do it, but next year, I think that between y'all, we need to seriously put a line item in here for contract services and just take this to another level and be done with it.
Well, we can, again, for the 500,000 above. 500,000 below, we need to look and see if there's a contract service for that.
And I can talk to, Kenneth Boss, he's the one that we are utilizing for, because Ingalls did ask for a hearing officer for their personal property in the old Ingalls building. So I can talk with him when he comes in just to see if he had to do that before, if he knows anybody who does the lesser value properties, and just kind of see what to do.
Right before we move on to the next page, I will say this is not something brand new. This board,
No.
this has been going on probably since you've been here and even before.
I think last year was the first year that we had to utilize Franklin County. And we did have 3 board members, but some were not in great health. And well, most of them were not in great health, and so we ended up having to do the agreement. That was the main reason for us having to do the agreement with Franklin County, and then they just kind of aged off because they didn't want to renew, they didn't want to do their training, so their term was expiring at the end of last year anyway, so they just decided to come off rather than renew.
Let's move on to something more positive now. So here you are, ooh-wee.
Where would you like to begin?
Tell us what you're seeing. Is the budget that you and Susan's worked out, or you submitted, any reasons for any changes or changes that we may need to be concerned about?
Really, the changes, jury script may be a little more, it just depends, because we budget, and then obviously some of the judges would like to do something a little different, or add an extra week, or do something specially set. We have just, one of our judges has just signed an order to specially set a jury trial at the end of October, which was not initially scheduled for the end of the last term when we did the budget. So that's probably going to fluctuate a little bit.
That's always a hit and miss, though.
Yes,
Year to year.
and you just never really can pick those. The interpreter, that's becoming a thing. Like, I mean, it's becoming something that we're utilizing more and more, just because there are, especially in juvenile court, there are a lot that are out of the Jubilee partners that do not speak English, so we have to get Korean, or Korean, which is totally different if you didn't know that, because I was not aware at the time. And they are very few and far between. They're very expensive. We have to provide them if they request for an interpreter. So those services have went up probably in the past year. Even in Superior Court, if it's something small that, we see that we need, and there's not an interpreter there. I do have a girl that is in my office. She's not court certified, but the judges do allow her to kind of step in and just translate, hey, we're going to reschedule you to this date for whatever, and we try to utilize it to where if the interpreter comes out, it's for more than one rather than just one. But sometimes we cannot do that. We have had someone who is deaf that has requested an interpreter because they would like to serve on jury. So we have to, if they request that and don't request to be excused, then we have to provide them with an interpreter, a court appointed or a court certified interpreter. So anytime that somebody is summoned for jury duty and they want to serve, we have to provide it and we have to pay for it. That doesn't happen very often, but that is one thing that will be upcoming if this jury pool does go forward and it's not canceled in October, I believe. So that's one thing that you can't really plan for either.
And I did increase that line a little bit because we've already hit where we were at the end of last year. We've already hit that mid this year. It is increasing. The other thing, court reporter services, that's something that we can't function without. And I think that they're not W-2 anymore, they're 1099. Correct. That's why you see my green. I increased that line for her. And so that's kind of increased for that. But otherwise, we're trying to kind of stay as much in confines as where we've been for the last several years, other than what is necessary, and that's something, stuff that we can't prevent or say we can't utilize the service.
You're showing a decline in the expected budget of income. Your revenue side, we budgeted $270,000. You're showing expected $250,000. Just your best guess, I'm sure.
Let's see.
And where are you looking?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Clerk of Superior Court.
Okay, yeah.
You're expecting $250,000. We're showing a
Yeah.
budget about this year $270,000.
It's just the best guess, but using that, I was using more where we've been landing the last few years, but Katie may have more knowledge on that.
As far as what the revenue that we bring in as far as fines and stuff, that really is based on how much the judges fine them at their time of sentencing, and then what they pay to probation or what's remitted to us.
Now, these are tangible tax and state transfer.
I thought you were looking at this one too.
I'm on the court clerk.
Are you at the
36.
Oh, 30. Okay.
Oh,
Okay. You were ahead of us.
Yeah.
Okay. I kept going. What did he talk about?
Yeah, me too, because I didn't see that either.
Okay. So we need to flip.
So no, y'all, nothing else for 35? Okay.
You know what, Katie, just to the other green down there at the bottom, that's a new line item. It's called agency bookkeeping services, because the, Elbert County oversees, for the courts and, the DA's office, and they have now started sending quarterly invoices, to each of the counties to help offset their in-house costs of handling that work for them. Okay. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys had called that. And that 16 is just the best guess, because we really haven't had a whole year of that. And it varies month to month, quarter to quarter.
Do we have an intergovernmental agreement in place for that, with Elbert County?
For the probation?
No, the
Yeah.
agency bookkeeping service.
This is the bookkeeping services. There was,
Yeah, it's lackluster. You know any other way to put it?
No. Well, and this was an item that we brought up in that meeting when we met with Castle and, the representatives. I mean, everybody's aware. I mean, it's just Elbert County, unfortunately, threw the short stick and ended up having to take care of them. But we would rather keep them and not.
No, I don't have a problem.
Yeah, so
I don't have a problem with us doing it, as long as there's some documentation in place to recognize
there is.
why we're doing it.
Yeah, there is, and I don't know who wrote the document. Mike has saw it. We've had meetings about it, for 4 years, 3.5, 4 years now. Elbert County's really wanted to get shed of this and let another county take it on, because it's a huge burden to them to do. One thing that's not in here, because I don't know if probation falls under you, Katie, at all. I don't know if that's in here. But there's probably going to be an increase there, because Elbert County called a couple days ago and said that there was a big shortfall, and they're going to have to get with all the counties, and everybody's going to split it to try to make up the difference for probation. Unfortunately, we don't really control much of what the judges do in these contracts. We have Susan probably made 40 phone calls to Elbert County last year trying to get money back from them on a different part, while we're obligated to pay them on this part. And it would take one massive undertaking to just stop, throw it all in the trash, and start over from a court system side. This is a nightmare. I would have your job. Not to be disrespectful to you, but this is a lot. And there's so many moving parts that she can't control, but yet we got to try to budget for. And that's really unfair. And this contract you're referring to, I've seen better ones written on the hood of a truck. But there is something in writing.
Well, we honestly, in that last meeting, we discussed that with TJ, and I thought he was kind of working on something to make it better, but I don't
It's
think.
been over a year.
Yeah.
Every time I talk to him, it's not finished this week.
Yeah.
But again, it's a court system, and I can't make it happen, and neither can Katie. We're at their disposal.
We just work here.
We just work here. All right, anything going down your, Superior Court clerk?
I don't really think that I requested any, increases other than just my girls' COLA, yearly COLA. I think that was probably the only thing that I had increased.
If you guys are looking on that one line item there that says employee pension, in case there's a question there, when you see a 0 marked, but yet you see the increase of 9.3 and 10.1, this is based off information that we've had with the pension providers. Susan, it is 0 because we
haven't paid it.
We haven't paid it yet.
We haven't paid it this year. We won't pay it till end of the year.
Gotcha.
That's why you see 0 in the actual. But it's,
Just in case one of y'all catch.
yeah, so the requested column, which is Katie's column, it's based on the wages there, based at a 9.3%, and that is the required amount the ACCG is requiring us to pay. And then the other column, and the admin minus Todd's column, when we're looking at that, I use that column to show the recommended, which is at a 10.1%. That is, again, based on what ACCG recommends the county to do.
That's the 31,240, 31,240.
On this one, it is the numbers, it's employees' pension. So in Katie's column, it's 25,562. That's a 9.3. And then it goes up to 28,015 if we go with the recommended. Do you see that line item?
Number 36, under 36.
It's kind of midsection of the, under the expenses there.
Anybody back there, if you want a copy of the budget, we have one here if you want to
Yeah,
follow along.
There's one more here. I can go make more if anybody needs something.
There's a couple more copies right here.
Well, actually, that
This
maybe,
is the 26.
she's got part of that.
I will,
But
I'll,
27.
I can go make more. Does anybody else want any? I can go make more.
So actually, what it's showing, the 27 request is lower than 26 budget.
Yeah, but a lot of that has to do with active and not, how, we got some new employees, some of them are not as far in, so it's just how they all, play out. Based on percentages when we plug in that table. And part of this is no, it wasn't on this one, it was on another one. But Katie does have some newer employees that hadn't quite made their vested time yet, so it kind of gets secret for them.
The big picture for me on both of yours is your request for 27 is less than the request for 26, so thank you.
try. But if you'd like to buy me a new car, I will throw that request in there. I'll gladly take it.
Juvenile court.
Yes.
You don't hear a ticking noise in the background, not the humming. That's how I feel when I look at the court system's budget. I hear a time bomb. It's just ticking, because you never know. It's liable to blow up at any minute. It'll blow your budget up.
How about juvenile system working with our prosecutor?
You're being reported.
It's a lot different than last year. It has put a bigger burden, I believe, on myself and my juvenile clerk, because we are doing a lot more because they are not falling within their time constraints as what they are supposed to do by law. Obviously, we're not attorneys, we're not prosecutors, so we can't tell them, hey, you got 10 days to do this, or you have to do this in 7 days. So we are dismissing a lot of cases and filing new cases, which is increasing our case count. And so we're having to start from scratch. So that's a really big headache.
Other counties that we're with,
Same situation. We have just implemented juvenile e-filing to try and maybe help with that scenario. We've had it for about a month. It has helped with us getting the documents in a timely manner, because otherwise they would have to physically bring those to us, because we have to have originals, we can't have copies. But with the e-filing, they have the originals, they can file those and it's kind of, it makes it a lot quicker. But as far as, there's a lot of things, that they are utilizing that they should do differently, because we still don't have a court order to disperse some of these things. So we are holding a lot of things that we shouldn't be holding. I spoke with Judge Caswell about it. He is aware, have tried to talk to the prosecutors to go another avenue. They are aware, but they just need to think that it's okay. So, I am not completely satisfied with how things are going as far as how they were with Kevin McFarland. But we're going to do what we have to do regardless of who's in that.
Is there anything that you could tell us that we can do to make that better?
No,
No. I mean,
pretty much, yeah.
They're attorneys.
They're working for us,
Yes.
supposedly.
Yes. I mean, they do file the things that are necessary, whether or not it's in the time frame that it's supposed to be, whether we get a complaint and then we don't get that petition within 30 days, we have to dismiss that whole entire case and file a new complaint, and then hopefully get another petition within the time frame. It's just,
The misfiling's running in excess of 50%.
and we have put in place things to CYA to show that we do send these when we receive them, the dates that we send them, so that they can't say, well, we never received these, so that we can do this within a certain amount of time. We have that proof. We have all of that. And just because that was kind of how it was, well, we never received this, and this was never done, and there's been a lot of that too.
In all fairness, you know, this was a 5-county deal. We're all partnered in together. And when the announcement came out that Kevin could no longer do this service for us, we were all 5 counties, pretty upset about it, considering we knew what kind of job he'd done for us. But we were only offered one choice.
I think they were the only ones
They were the only one.
Yeah.
And so,
And they've never prosecuted juvenile before, mind you. So this is a completely new learning experience for them as well.
yeah, it's not something that we can literally advertise for. It has to be all 5 counties, and then the court system does that for you. And basically, they come back and say, we found you one. This is the one we want you to go with. And the number's this. Please divide it by 5 and pay them. Now, the unfortunate part about that is our citizens don't always get the best service, but yet we still pay what we're supposed to pay. And that makes her job frustrating, because she works 3 times as hard on the same exact case that could have been her the first time. Next page, please.
And this contract,
I won't get stuck on stuff.
our current contract ends, it's just annual, correct?
Yeah.
So, it could be open if the judges will help us find somebody else.
If they have to start prior to the expiration, because you can't let it expire. You have to have somebody else in place. And if you think the wheels of government go slow, buddy, wait till you get in the court system.
I did see Kevin, he was here last Monday, and I did briefly talk to him about, coming back. Whether, just because things, it was a well-oiled machine, everything ran smoothly, it was done like it needed to be done. I didn't have to worry about, it's down to 2 hours from 5 p.m. if I don't have this petition, then we're going to have to dismiss this serious Class A felony case, and then what are we going to do? And, I think he misses it or whatever. But two, and I don't know what the district attorney's budget is, but I know initially they were prosecuting juvenile cases, before our current district attorney was elected. I know that they did receive a supplement for that. I don't know if they still do, which I think they are, I'm trying to choose my words.
As I recall, they presented us the same budget, but we're gonna do less work. We're gonna take juvenile off our plate.
Yes.
We expect you to contribute the same amount to our office that we're taking juvenile off our plate.
But I believe that they are very short-handed as well as far as ADAs.
And they want state benefits.
Yep.
Over county benefits too.
Twice the cost.
Yep.
But because I believe that majority of the state of Georgia, their district attorney's office does the prosecution for juvenile court.
Two that I know of was opted out.
Yeah. Obviously that would make things a lot easier just because everything criminal and juvenile would be coming out of the same office. And I feel like there would be a little bit better of a relationship between like our office and their office, because we're already sometimes at each other's throats trying to do the thing that what we need to do for criminal cases. And so we're used to each other, and we're not really at each other's throats. Depending on the day, figure of speech. Depending on the day, what's going on. If we have like grand jury and 2 criminal courtrooms and that kind of thing, we possibly maybe. But I feel like that would be more beneficial to us, but that's not really my say-so.
Has the case backlog gotten any better with the DAs since they're no longer doing the juvenile?
I wouldn't say that we still have a backlog. And
The intent to drop one to help the other decrease did not take place.
we still have we still have a backlog of cases, to the point where the judges have asked for pending case lists because they are
Timing out.
well, not really timing. Well, there is one that is getting ready to retire, I believe, at the end of his term. But
How many cases timing out?
oh yes, that we have lots of misdemeanor cases that are timed out that just have not had anything done with them. DUIs that were 2-3 years ago that have been transferred to us, but then we haven't received anything on them, so they're just pending. So then you have
thing that we have to think about under the sheriff's budget too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the jail expense comes from people sitting over there for a year and a half, whatever, waiting to go to court. It runs our sheriff's budget through the roof.
We just had a trial last month. It was a felony arson case, but this defendant had been incarcerated for over 2 years because they kept kicking the can on his case, and it just was never taken to trial. Like, it was on the judge's court docket, but it was just kicked down the line. So he was in there for 2 years.
That's expensive.
And he was in on those new charges as well as a probation revocation for a felony case. So he wasn't getting a probation bond, and he had some mental health issues, and he wasn't getting out. And I know there is one man in there still that has been in there for more than 2 years. But we have issues with him here. He has mental health issues, and he would sit out in the parking lot and wait for us to leave. And also at one of the picnic tables, and he would wait for us, and so we had to get Lieutenant Bryce involved, and we had to have some things put in place, but then he violated his own order, and he's been incarcerated, but he still sends weekly letters to my office. His case is still not much trial. But again, that's not, you know.
And it's not just the housing and the feeding, it is the medical expense and the potential. Because we have a lot of those.
Mm-hmm.
Our medical expenses are extremely expensive. Seems like everybody that gets arrested ends up with a toothache the day they get arrested. We send more dentists, more ER visits.
More hospitalizations.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I'm gonna get arrested on this small charge because I need medical attention, because I got a heart problem. Boom, we're paying the bills.
Well, what happens too is they sit on our dime in the jail. As soon as the case is heard, it's gonna be time served, and then they turn them loose.
Depending on the type of case, and what the jury finds, or what the negotiated plea is, if they do a negotiated plea. I mean, there is a backup for PDC, which is probation detention centers. So if you have a probation revocation and your waiver or what you're sentenced to is 90 days in the PDC program, which is through DOC, but it's probation detention center, there's a 3-month wait for a bed there, and they're not going to release them from the jail to then have to go and find, so they have to wait until bed space is available. And then I don't know if y'all heard about DOC, there's probably like a 3 to 5 month backlog in picking up inmates because of the fights that have outbroke in DOC and the inmates that were killed with those. So those were still under investigation, and so inmates haven't been picked up in several months for those as well. So it's not all anything that we can necessarily do. It's to hire the prison system too.
The system.
Yeah, the system. Yeah.
All right, Katie, anybody have any other questions for Katie? I'm sure you got a stack that. We'll pray for you.
I appreciate that. We are on week 2 of a jury trial for a divorce. Yes.
Oh, wow.
A divorce.
Who gets the other?
We have not had a jury trial for a divorce here in 20 years. So this has been an experience. There has been a lot of things said that I wouldn't necessarily think would have been said in court. But then again, you never know what you may get in civil court anyway, because as Judge Phelps says, it's the biggest oxymoron in the English language. Nothing about civil court is ever
It's civil.
criminal court is more civil than actual civil.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Katie.
All right, young lady.
I'm trying to not get flustered or anything.
No, it's actually getting better, I'll just be honest.
Well, I hope you continue to say that when I get through it, I mean, but we're good here.
I like a lifetime movie.
Allow me to come talk with you about our budget next year. As I've told you in the past, elections each year is different because of number. Each election year is different because of the number of elections that we have. And next year is no different. What used to be considered as a non-election year turns into be our municipal elections and then any specials that we have. I will go ahead and tell you that I was notified about 2 weeks ago that more than likely we're going to have a countywide EastClass, I think it's EastClass or the school, and that will possibly be in March. Then we have our municipal races that will be in November.
Renewal of these projects? Okay.
Yes.
So we'll need to add something.
Right,
there.
this is, yeah, this is habit, but keep in mind too, now, the municipal elections as well as this special for the school, they will be reimbursed back to the county. So we'll bill them at the end like we have in the past. That's another probably $25,000 that would cost the county, because that would be countywide for that special that we have. So just like I said, keep that in the back of your mind with those. I have just a few things I want to go over, not a whole lot to bog you down. First, wages. Thank you. I'd like to say thank you for the 3% COLA increases that we put in. That, we're very appreciative of that. I would like to say if it's all possible to increase that to 5% for our workers. As you know, with all departments in the county, to keep those good workers, we need to pay them stuff. And I have a good group of workers. Lynn's been with me probably 12 years. Teresa's been with me 15. Ron's been with me maybe 3 years, and I've just hired a new lady to start now. So I would like to keep them because of the sensitive information that we have and training that we'll have to, go through each year. So I'd like for you to take that into consideration. A couple of the line items that have increased, advertising. It seems like now every time we do anything in the office, we have to advertise it. And it has to run anywhere from 1 week to 4 weeks. And then after those 4 weeks, you wait a couple of weeks and run it again. So that's the reason that has increased in that line item. Travel and training, we have put that at $6,000 simply because we'll be going to Jekyll for our training next March. And then, as you all know, all this that's going on with the elections equipment, 2028, more than likely, we're going to have a new system. So they will get us trained for that new system probably in December of 27 to start in January of 28. That's just, that's just what the state does. We find out last minute when they're going to train us and what we're going to do. As of right now, we have no idea what system they'll be using. They have not told us anything, so that's still in the dark over there.
I don't think they know yet.
I don't know, sir. They do have a committee together to study this, and they'll make their recommendations to whoever, guys, I'm not even sure who'll make that decision now. In the past, it was Secretary of State that would make the decision to what equipment that we went to. We're hearing a lot about paper ballots. Don't really know how that's going to affect how we're going to do that. That is more reason for us to look at the consolidation. And speaking on consolidation, we will pick that topic back up right after the November election. And we'll move forward with it. We'll have our hearings and things like that. And the thing that I would, like I said, there's three members of that. I know what I feel that we need to do. And, I'll present my case to the 2 other board members and to the public. And we'll move from that there. A lot of feedback as far as not wanting it, but we've got to look at something. And if our board decides to consolidate to the one, then I would ask that start 2028. That gets us hearings and all that ready for next year, get all that out of the way, get everybody notified, and move forward. And let me go ahead and say this, I have not made that decision. I know that once I leave here, it'll be said that I have made that decision. I have not made that decision. I'm only one member of that board. But, it's going to take us thinking and talking about all that together. But it would be a very large amount of cost savings if we could do that. The last thing, as far as increases goes, was the dues. I had put in $1,200, and I noticed that it went back to, I believe it was $700. The reason I had upped that was because Gabriel, our association, has restructured their dues, and they base it off the ACCG. And I believe they go by population. And so the first year they had us at $600. And then now it will be at $1,200.
Okay.
So that's the reason for that
fine.
change there. And it's a whole lot different from what used to be $240 all the way up to $1,200 now.
Oh, yeah.
But
Okay.
that's what that's.
We'll make sure we change it then.
Okay, okay.
I just didn't have a note of it. so
Yeah,
that's fine.
there's no problem there. I always try to stay within our budget, you know, we have that left over, where we can move if I need it to some other area or whatever, but, I appreciate Susan and the county working with us to get our elections and all that taken care of. And the other thing that I wanted to mention, I handed each of you a little green handout. Unfortunately, we have to bring this news to you, but starting 2027, all elected officials will have to file their own ethics reports. Teresa will be sending out a email later on. Right, and that's just explaining. I would go ahead now and get on there, get your filer information and your number, so that at the end of the year, 1st of January, you can start on the schedule. We'll be glad to help you any way that we can, but I hate to say it, that's on y'all now, so, but you, in any, you know, you'll.
It's on us right till we come ask questions. Just saying.
But I wanted to go ahead and give y'all that now.
There is supposed to be some training on it. I'm hoping ACCG will give y'all that information, but if I do receive any, I'll be happy to forward it on to everybody. Setting up your peach files.
Yeah. As Katie was mentioning about the people on her board, poll workers, there are some counties that use the contracted services for that as well. We are having a heck of a time getting poll workers. You know, I can get them from other counties, but that other county has to sign off on them. Well, if they need one there, they're not going to sign to give me any poll workers. So there's always going to be a need for that. But there again, if we go back to consolidation, I won't have to have that meeting. So anyway, that's my spiel. If y'all have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
I gotta say thank y'all, again, for doing a good job in this current budget we're in now and the previous year's budget. I don't think y'all have ever made a request that hasn't come to fruition as far as the need goes. Y'all doing an amazing job during elections. Unlike most Georgia counties, but uniquely, we rarely have a problem in this county. So thank you and your staff.
Well, that's my staff. I've been very blessed with the ones I have working in the county. Y'all help us provide things for us, so that means a lot. And did you get your emails that I sent on the numbers?
Yes.
I apologize for letting that get a little bit behind, but I wanted to go and get that to you as well. Okay. Well, thank you for your time.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Richard.
Hi, where do you want to start?
Start with anything you project as seeing a change that you wasn't expecting from any year previously or last year.
As far as building inspection goes, I think it's pretty much a wash. There were some suggestions made. I didn't see anything that was out of the question. Anything that raised a red flag as far as I was concerned with that. I think revenues versus budget, everything is kind of still in line with that, projected revenues and such.
Make Terry feel good.
Building inspection is pretty much a wash, you know, as far as operating budget or revenue. Animal control, pretty much the same as far as the budget goes. I don't have any major changes or anything there. The code enforcement and building, code enforcement and planning and zoning, always planning for last. Code enforcement, working on getting our code enforcement officer certified and all, so I'm increasing the speed of his training and such. He's going to a 1 week seminar next month, I think it is, to go towards his level 1 certification. So I'm trying to get that taken care of. Other than that, I don't have anything, as far as code goes out of the norm. We went back to just one person in code enforcement. That seems to be working, so.
So Eddie, will the suggestion, the admin suggestion of moving that to 1,500 for travel and 2,000 for education suffice since there is one?
Yes.
Okay.
And that'll be just
All
fine.
right, I just want to be absolutely sure.
Yeah, that'll work out just fine. And then as far as planning and zoning goes, as far as planning and
Looking for a
zoning,
different solution.
Yeah. I like the one that we sent out the email on the other day. Sorry.
questions?
So you got Jonathan and Shane on the code enforcement side, and Jonathan.
Jonathan's under building inspection.
Okay,
Shane's under code enforcement.
There's only one under code.
okay,
Yeah, so one under each.
and, okay, got it.
So, and as far as planning and zoning goes, we just have the one staff member currently, and then of course, it's been added for the planner. It's been put in that. Also, there's training. We'll be sending Melissa some training. Actually, later on this week, she's got a class this week too.
Speaking of training, Melissa and Angie both has been in the training now for
Correct.
a year or so. That should be.
Well, as far as that, what they've been doing is the permitting.
Geo permit.
So that's what they're working on for our online stuff and our new permitting. Some of that stuff is online and working. Electrical permits, things like that, are still online, are already available. We hope by the end of the year to get the rest of it online. Of course, now Melissa's having to concentrate on other things, so that's taking her attention away. So I'm hoping to get Angie with someone else to be able to work on that. They're having to go in and take things line by line to make them where they work for us. Taking that stock program and fixing it for us.
I thought that was nearing completion, so that's good to hear that
Yeah.
we probably wrapped up by the end of the
Yeah,
year.
we have decided that the only one thing we're not going to do online is commercial permits. We're going to make those where you have to come in and we'll sit down with you and go through those individually. I think they're too involved to do online.
Correct.
So,
In that line item down there where you'll see, there's a note that, trying to decide if they're gonna be able to finish with geo permitting, and this falls almost in every, department that Eddie has. When I budgeted as if it was not gonna be finished by the end of the year to start with. But if they finish it, then we'll be able to drop down the annual fee quite considerably.
Yeah.
But we just don't know. As we get a little closer, we may
prepare
be
for the
able
worst
not to
and
pay
hope for the best.
Yeah, well, it's really no different than the CPL on here.
And the CPL, actually, I had not had a chance to go in and fix that, but Christina had told me Thursday that she feels like we can drop that to about 5,000. But
I would be very cautious in that.
you're cautious of that.
I would.
You're happier where it's at?
I am, and the only reason is because the UDC stuff will come around in October, and I think January and February, there'll be phone calls, I'm sure.
Okay,
And I'd rather be protected than have to go back and amend.
okay, that's fine. That's fine, we'll leave it.
The other caveat is I don't know that having a planner here at that time would still be able to hit the ground running with a brand new UDC. It's gonna take us a minute to understand it and then make sure that we got it. We'll need them to make that a problem. Maybe.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Anything? No?
the vehicles is good?
Yep. So far.
You still loving your little truck?
Yeah, now that they fixed it, yeah,
Okay.
sure. It was good to have it back, so. Jonathan got tired of riding with it.
Gotcha.
And so we are going to, at some point.
The animal control.
Yeah, this year we're gonna do the office stuff first.
That's what we're gonna
Computers,
look at.
change that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll worry about the
And
tax.
that's where I put them, I just wanted to be sure.
You briefly mentioned animal control. Can we run down that?
Sure. I had no major changes with it, as far as animal control goes.
This is just standard operating procedure, kind of.
2 employees.
Two.
This is one that I haven't touched, just to be honest.
It's showing a good bit more than 3% on the wages. My math is right.
Going by the 25 actual,
26,
and then going,
26 budget,
oh, you haven't done, that's right, you got that. Yeah, gotcha.
that would be 83, 84, showing 90.
I'm gonna say, that'll be something to look at.
So, his,
So 5105 is showing 81,787 budgeted for this year. If you add 3% to that,
yeah,
that's
we had it,
$2,500.
we did have it at 108, let's see. Where, different now. Employee pension, that will be up.
Yeah, but that shouldn't,
Yeah, it's not, I'm looking to see what it is right off. Honestly, I think it's mainly in wages.
Yeah.
Most of it is, and it may just be, I was trying to think, in 20, so hard to remember, without
Oh,
going back and
oh,
looking
wait a
at that.
minute, I know why it is, because you're, well,
It-
you got some certifications that came in 2026,
Yeah.
and that's one thing that the wages don't reflect.
That's correct.
And you gotta factor those in. When they get a certification, it changes the classification
It's
of
above
the
in
salary.
grade.
Huh?
It's above in grade.
Get a bump in the
Above
grade,
grade.
and that's what throws your number off.
It throws the numbers off
So
sometimes.
your 3%
across there.
won't add up then, it'll look
Yeah.
like a much bigger jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll get your increase than your 3%.
Correct.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah.
Eddie.
we tried. Yeah, we tried very hard this time. He kind of gave me a heads up about who probably will get that certification in the year, and we tried to kind of work that in, to try not to have such a issue, because that is something that does affect, when you can't just take the number and go 3%, it don't work. If we've had employees that have finished a certification or something else has changed.
I guess for me, Eddie, on this, and I look at your department, similar to where the water department is, that, you know, effectively you guys don't have a 9-to-5 job. And not in this budget for next year. I guess personally, I would like to see a line item for on-call hours for whoever's gonna, and those are outside of the overtime hours, because just having the person available.
Well, the way we do it, I don't know if you recall, we had a meeting here a few months back, last year, I guess it was, and, we do flex time now. So if you're on call, you get 2 hours for say you're on call Sunday, Saturday and Sunday. Sunday, you get your on call, you take those 2 hours, that falls for your 2 regular hours. You got 2 hours to burn between there and Friday. So you're only working 40 hours a week.
This doesn't have anything to do with that. The person would get some compensation for being on call after hours.
Yeah, he's saying if it's your week to take call, then you'll get a stipend.
Whether it's $1 an hour, $2 an hour,
Okay.
just to be on call.
Okay, instead of just the 2 hours on call, because currently you're on call for 2 hours. You get 2 hours automatically, whether you go out or not. So you have dogs in the kennels, then you have to go in and you give them your water and feed the dogs.
Yeah, this will be above and beyond that.
Okay.
This would be outside of that, because this is not for what I would consider regular shift things. This would be, if you have a call, go pick up an animal.
Yeah.
What I would.
It's the burden of being on call and can't plan.
Well, I mean, currently, the 2 animal control officers that we have now have full-time vehicles. I mean, they have they're their own county vehicles that they drive too.
Yeah.
So that needs to factor in too. So they both have take-home vehicles, even when they're not on call.
And then how many calls do they do actually to go pick up calls, other than the weekends when they're just?
I would have to actually go back and look
Okay.
to give you a rundown on that. I'd be happy to give you a report on that.
But
No worries.
I mean, overall, they seem to work pretty well with this system, because we have very small amounts of overtime out of that one department
Yeah, it's cut back from last year.
from last year.
Last year we went through all the overtime, and then they were getting comp time. So that's pretty much on the way.
All right, any other questions, Freddie?
Thanks.
Thank you, Ed.
You want?
Before we start rec department, I'd like to take a bathroom break, say 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Everybody okay with that? And get a warm cup of coffee. You know, Shelly got a marathon. Yeah, I know, it still got cold. No.
Just, what you talking?
That number, what it's saying, like it was saying. Cause I was gonna say, but better than
Yeah,
what
the
we have.
proposal, the advertisement we have is ranged up to.
Okay,
That's secretary.
yes, yeah. So, okay, that's what so we're already advertising for that position?
And the job description that they sent out the other day, let me back up. I think that job description is going to be voted on with the range including anything else.
Okay.
I believe that's what it's like. But a couple of us felt that a range was better than to try to lock something in on that number right there.
Yeah.
You might get somebody that's fresh out of school and working a year, so that they got a year to put on their resume. But you
Exactly.
don't get anything else.
No. Not something we need.
Yeah.
At that time.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you.
Yes, ma'am.
It's just kind
To
of.
break down some of
Right there,
the,
yes, there's in their packet is actually from the RFP that we have, so we have to, vote on grounds, like shirts for programs, that kind of thing, and then also the athletic apparel. All of that.
What you say? Okay, we didn't get that.
I did.
Yeah, okay.
Congratulations,
That's
Dave.
fine.
This is the recommendation.
Yeah, we're going to-
He's a wonderful
Look,
Monday.
we've all been drinking out the same cup or something.
Tell him this
Is
much.
that tea come out, the new place?
What
do they got, like, flavor teas or something?
I looked at the calendar and I'm like, crap.
Really?
I was not prepared. I just didn't get lipstick today. Yeah. It was just something that was, you got something today, come on.
Late.
And the reason that we put
Going over
2,000 was
like this.
because we couldn't go back.
Stephanie asked me to call y'all. Too late now, we're fixing to pull out.
Yeah, I think Gary had food poisoning, so he was in bed all day, but,
That was one.
you know, he's been sitting on that jury all week in that crazy case, so.
Oh, wow. On the divorce jury?
Yeah,
I heard of divorce, sure.
oh, it's been wild,
Yeah, I did.
apparently.
Okay, you have, do you need this?
No, I put all your stuff.
Okay, all right. Okay.
You ought to be a witness for a divorce jury then. If you'd ask the question, were you? And so, well, he told me his wife knew we were going to Las Vegas.
And see, I was out Friday, so then, I came in yesterday.
I didn't know she was a kid.
I didn't get through all of my emails, but I do remember seeing something about your email.
Oh, no, okay.
I was sitting on and back for a friend of mine in Clark County one time, just waiting to do my testimonial, so to speak. This guy gets up there and he just stops. He says, "Judge, can I say something?" And the judge says, "Well, I guess so. It's highly unusual." This guy stands up and he says, "Judge," he said, "you bait a mousetrap with a woman, you'll catch me every time." And I swear, I never saw that judge grab that gavel or swing it down. All I heard was it. He said, "You people in my chambers now."
All right. You ready to go, young lady?
Hey, whenever y'all done.
Let me know where you would like to start.
We'll start wherever you'd like. We'll start on that page.
The top. So the admin, everything with admin, so there's, we did 2 requests. We did, one that was without concessions, and meaning that the county would not be operating concessions. We would just have strictly a concessionaire or food truck.
That's a zero for us.
Correct. So it would just be a revenue, stream, no expense. And then the other side was if we did continue operating Diamond Hill with still a concessionaire with Brewer Phillips and Sammy Haggard, that would be expense on staffing and product. So the recommendation is to not operate concessions, the county not operate concessions, save money on the staffing costs and the inventory costs, and then just strictly have concessionaires.
And we've been relatively pleased with that service.
Yes, it's been great. Everybody likes that, you know, they know it's open there. We have, with our current concessionaire, we finally got them set up to where they can order their own drinks and stuff, so we're not ordering the drinks and then them having to pay us. Coke has been able to do an account for them, since we do have a contract with Coke, so they have to stay with Coke and sell those products. So we've been able to work that out.
So they'll operate at satellites also.
Yes, So she runs Brewer Phillips concession stand, and she runs Sammy Haggard, the upper and lower concession stands is what she's been running this year.
What Diamond Hill,
Diamond Hill, we've been operating.
they're gonna continue.
For the fall, yes, but for next year, we're asking to not do that and to have a concessionaire run everything. So, so on the wages side, everything there is just the normal, COLA with that, for everybody. Yeah, you have seasonal, okay. Our seasonal, wages are actually gonna be down in our programming expenses. So, just moving through, any questions on the admin section?
Well, on the concession stuff, you know, you've heard me harp on it a lot. Concession is one of the things that you can have a revenue source in to help back with the budgets, but I agree, the times are changing, as we heard earlier, with finding help with elections and finding help with Board of Equalizations, and it's eventually going to be a contract service, unfortunately, because that is going to cut a revenue stream out from us, or at least make the percentage smaller.
So looking, yeah, the percentage, is a little bit smaller, but on the other side, it is strictly revenue. It's not an expense for the county, other than electricity and water when they use this. So,
Y'all have currently, you're asking for resumes now, I guess.
yes, so we currently have RFPs out for the 2027 concessionaires. We also have the RFPs out for photography as well, for that. So those are all due September 3rd.
Thanks for those updates.
Moving through operational expenses. So on one of the sheets I handed out was education and training. That line item, at $2,000. So on your sheet, you'll see the breakdown of, who would attend what, and when those are. Also within that education and training, you'll see there's two lines, that show scholarship. One is District 7 scholarships, the other one is LCF, which is Leisure Careers Foundation scholarships. Those are a matter of literally we just apply and money's approved. So you'll see that the total is actually more, so it's $900 more for education and training, but I have included those scholarships in there because, again, we're guaranteed those as long as we apply for them. So that's why, so it's $1914 for that. It does include, so with talking with Susan, so the training for that education, or not training, the travel for the training did include the NRPA conference, which is National Recreation Park Association Conference. In the past, the county has not paid for that. It was budgeted to pay for it for this year. However, I'm not going due to just having a baby, so I'm not going. So that line item you'll see for our expenses for this year is going to be a lot less than what we budgeted for, but I did put it in there for next year. And that total, you can see with including that conference, is about $3,800 for the travel. But Susan said they only put in $2,000 since NRPA hasn't been paid for in the past.
So the NRPA and the NAYS, is those something that we really need to go to?
So the NAYS is National Alliance for Youth Sports. That is with the CYSA training or certification. I would like to send Holly to that. It's the first time ever. It is at the same time as GRPA next year, so instead of going to GRPA, she would be going to the NAYS, the NAYS conference.
So it's part of a completion of a certificate?
It's to maintain those CEUs.
CEUs.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Both those.
Yes, so all of our conferences are to maintain CEUs for the certifications. I have COISA and CPRP, which is Certified Park and Rec Professional. Holly just recently got her CYSA, so we want to try to maintain those.
So with those two positions, with those two certifications, CEUs are required to keep those?
Yes. We have to complete CEUs every 2 years
Okay.
and submit them.
Is it the CEUs, the continued ed points or credits are issued by the organization that you're going to for the conference?
Yes, sir.
And what do we gain, what does the county gain from that?
So the updates and training on what's new programming, how to do different things, it's just continuing that knowledge. Any new activities with sports, it's going to be official side, coaching, how to maintain your coaches and your volunteers and everything like that. So it's just it's a continuing education.
And that can't be picked up at the Georgia Recreation and Parks?
Yes, so every conference gets those trainings, or gets those CEUs. The difference with sending, with the National Alliance for Youth Sports, those CEUs automatically go to the CYSA, and we don't have to pay extra for those. Whereas if we attend GRPA and get those CEUs, we have to then submit them to NAES and pay per hour for that, to submit them, because they weren't run through the organization themselves.
Here's one thing I want to be careful about. I think what you're saying is what we're hearing is probably not necessarily all the facts of it. Your certifications don't matter to me. What I want to know is what the county is gaining from your training, because all your certification does is that goes in your resume for you to apply for a job somewhere else. So don't sell this to me based on the certifications it's going to add to at the end of your name. I need to know what good this is going to do for the participants of the rec program in the county.
Well, it's providing updated knowledge and information for just programming in general, for operating a department, administratively, on sports, non-traditional programs. I mean, things are changing. We hear it every day. So it's updating that knowledge base.
Is there any legal?
I realize it's been
to help maybe, is there any legal obligations to this? Like, are you understanding some rules or something that may change, that may have some legal repercussions if we do not follow these as GRPA participants or anything like that?
Legally, no. It's just updates of rules. GYSA goes through GRPA with rules, so anything that happens or changes to update with GHSA, then we have to follow those changes through GRPA. But that's
I guess, Shelley, that's what we're all asking is, if it comes to one or the other, which one are we going to get the most bang for the buck out of here in Madison County? I mean, which one would you choose? Because if the GRPA is the governing authority over the NRPA is the governing authority over the GRPA, then why do both? Is that?
Yeah, I don't know the difference in the two.
Well, I mean, because with NRPA, the CEUs receive there go straight to meeting the certifications. Again, I know you don't care about the certifications. I had the certifications before even coming to Madison County for both CPRP and CYSA. So we got Holly to get the CYSA so she can further her knowledge into the expansion of becoming an actual administrator rather than just a coordinator. So those are maintaining that. NRPA, again, goes directly to it. So in the past, like I said, I've taken vacation and gone to the conferences myself.
And this, this is kind of, we're sort of splitting hairs, but I hope you get to just the conversation. If these conferences are purely for your benefit, it really ought to be just something that you pay.
Yeah.
But if we or the citizens of the county are gaining benefit from it, then
Understood.
I didn't say, I don't need to jump out. I'm just going through your, let's see what section it was, now I've lost place. Your utilities, and this will be on the expenses operational. Your utilities, the electricity line item 53024. 26 budget 60,000. We're showing 73,500 on this one. I was under the impression that the lighting was fixing to drop.
I actually had that lower. That was a number that Susan put in there.
Yeah.
So I
had it lower based on us
changes.
going, yes, sir, changing, to the LED lighting for field 4 and 5, and then also changing to LED lighting for the new courts. Yes, sir, I had that. I believe my original number was about 50,000.
50, okay. I mean, we can take it back. All I can do is go on the actuals of what we've been paying. It's been climbing. So, but, you know, I have no way of knowing how much it'll reduce. So, I mean, I can take it back if that's what you guys would like to do.
So the year, the 26 actual goes through what date?
It's almost mid-June. It's not quite. It's like probably about 10 days.
So we're looking at $72,000 right now.
Right.
Yeah, and we don't have any idea what the reduction is going to be.
I don't.
So, me personally, you would want to leave that number high until we get an actual to go off.
That was kind of the thinking.
Yeah. And that
Because
was
the
my
last thing you want to
thinking.
do is say 50, and then you come in at 62, and you got to have a budget amendment.
Yeah.
Right.
Electricity, I mean, it's every year, there's at least one department or a few departments that all kind of bound together that we end up having to ask for an amendment for electricity. It's just no way. I mean, they get their rate increases whenever they get their rate increases.
Served by Georgia Power over there.
Yes, sir.
Served
So,
by Georgia Power.
Sammy Haggard and
A lot of
Bertha
them are.
are Georgia Power, and then Diamond Hill, is.
We do have some Jackson EMC. It just depends on where they're located.
And it's astonishing difference.
It is.
40%.
It is.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
I feel that pain personally.
Yes.
Had we had a say in the game, we would all be on Jackson University.
40%.
Yeah, exactly.
All right?
The also, want to mention, the dues and fees line item, you'll see at 1,500. That is just an estimate. So my original number is 1,250, but with swapping over to the new software system of Rec 1 with the Civic Plus, we aren't quite sure exactly the fees, if they're going to be like with Rec Desk, of where we have, 30 cents here or 30 cents there for transactions, even though all the fees are supposed to be going to the consumer on that. So that's why that is at 1,500. We're hoping that there will actually be a zero, so there won't be those extra fees with Rec.
Yeah, we were hoping that, but when we move over to this new website, we were kind of hoping that their payment system was going to help us, and it would be that all of those back fees on the back end would just be at the consumer's side and not our side. But we're still very unclear if we're going to actually be able to use that one. We're not.
For Rec 1, or the Rec Department, their credit card program, their payment software, they take all their fees up front, then they send us the money that we get. So they handle everything, but it only applies to Rec 1 right now. So the Rec Department for their new software will get that. So once that website is implemented, the new software is going, we should not see them charging us the service fee.
We may be able to lower that line item just a little bit. But when we did this, we didn't know what we were doing.
And we don't know
in the air.
And we don't know when that software is going to go into place either. I hope that Rec 1 management shouldn't take as long to implement as the county website itself. So hoping, depending on when they can get started, by the end of the year. Then next year, we won't see this at all.
We wouldn't see all these extra fees. Currently, what happens is, when it was first installed, she was told that they would take all their fees on the back end. We wouldn't see those, so we would get all of our revenue. Not how it works. And we literally cannot post cash receipts until everything totally settles. She gets in there and gets a report, because what happens is, as we go through them, it might be that we're a penny short, 3 pennies short, sometimes it's 10 pennies short, but then down the way somewhere, they may give it back to us. It just flip-flop, but it's a real pain, and then it adds up at the end. So, you know, her regular dues and fees will be somewhere around $1,200, but we end up spending around $1,500 because of the rec desk situation that we have. And Shelley has been in touch with them multiple times, and they've claimed that there's just no way for them to fix it, is how they batch out. It's a calculation they're using to batch them. I mean, it works perfectly if it's just one transaction.
But when it's
multiple transactions, it never comes out right.
But we're working on it.
we are. Hopefully again, the new system will be a lot better. Okay. Susan and I are working on, so you'll see the natural embodied bottled gas. Trying to figure out why that number is so high, because the only thing that should be running the propane is the heat. Well, the old gym, we now have air conditioning, so it doesn't have, except for the furnace. So it should not be running as much. Paul is sending, I got I don't know if you saw it this morning.
Yeah, he sent. I did get to
the
look at
report
it.
of where it shouldn't be running any heat or anything. The shop run, their heat is off of propane and stuff. So again, we're not sure why this number is so high. We're trying to figure that out.
We're trying to track it down.
Trying to figure out exactly why, so that number could also be potentially lower.
It just doesn't make sense, but it is what comes in on the bill for that account. So we're just trying to track backwards to see what we can figure out.
So, any other questions or anything on just operational?
Well, the only thing I'll note that under the different programs on here, if you look back at least 24, 25 actuals, the budget has decreased. The request has decreased. Now, I don't know which end, I haven't dug into this one deep enough to see which individual line items contributed to that decrease. One of the higher numbers on here is the administrative recommendation, not necessarily your request. And we can work those out to get to a finalized number. One thing I know me and you spoke about, and it's probably going to end up being over here in the services offered. You know, I'd requested to not offer as many programs, rather take the core programs and just excel in those instead of trying to dabble in too many areas. And I hope that's been took into consideration, because as I stated in a personal conversation with Shelley, is I'd rather do 5 things 100% than 10 things at 50%. And I feel like maybe we're going to see some reflection in this budget with that.
Yes, so I've looked at some things. The numbers, some of the numbers that admin still has in there don't reflect that, but my initial ones did.
Gotcha.
So,
I was referencing that the admin, our recommendation's higher than your request.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Susan, I have one question on the 2026 actual. It's really skewed. It looks like it's all in that grant expense category. What, $241,000 showed up in a grant expense?
It's actually, it's like 580,000 expense, but that's the Land and Water Conservation Fund grant.
That's on,
So that money is coming out of SLOST.
it shows an expense.
Which line item is it?
Operational,
It's the grant.
53048.
On this page?
Yes, about middle ways down, a little bit below, right below electricity.
Line item 530-48.
It's okay. I was just trying to, okay, so we're in it.
Mine's
Okay.
it's actually 580.
Okay, yeah. Yes, that has been, I'd have to go pull that.
So if you look at historical,
Well, that's Land and Water Conservation
It's a
Fund grant,
It is a part of that land
why is
and
that
water.
shown as an expense?
because we have to pay for it
We have to
first.
pay for it up front.
And then they reimburse us.
We're just now getting ready.
Yeah, I get where your question is.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're just now getting ready
That's
to,
fine. I got-
I think Angela's been working on, putting that first draw together,
Okay.
but,
And then it'll wash.
and then it'll wash out. Yeah, I know. It's hard to track it, because it's just spread out over time.
Should I just want to comment just in general, with this for you and for any department. As we go through this budgeting process, it's very, it's obviously very easy for all of us to fall into the rut of, well, it's budget time, so we just got to keep on doing things the way we always have. Where I want our thought process to be all the time is, are there not just different for the sake of being different, are there better ways of doing what we're doing than what we're doing now? We had our facilities tour a couple of weeks ago. That was one of the things that was discussed. Obviously, what you could look at doing, and I'm not saying this is what we want to do, but you could look at having organizations doing all the, so like we have MCYA, football is theirs. You could have, instead of baseball and softball being all in-house, it could be little league associations doing all of it. So the rec department becomes more just facilitators. Anyway, what I want us to be looking at all of those things and figuring out what's the best way to serve, and then as a part of that would be how does that affect budgets as well.
Yes, sir. The rec board did meet in one of our last meetings, and it was brought up. I had a whole discussion on, for specifically baseball, softball, on the difference between Little League and GRPA, because a lot of participants, just because we don't have Little League, they choose to go to Overbrook County or other counties just strictly for Little League. So I asked the board, what is the difference? What's something that, that they offer, that we don't, like the GRPA? Because I can't, when I do an apples to apples comparison, the only difference that I can come up with is, one, the name, and then two, they offer something like the World Series. But other than that, I cannot find a difference at all.
And if that be the case, then so the questions I'm asking, if I'm in your position, so what does that do about hiring umpires, me having to have equipment, all those things? So does that organization do that, and then that takes it off of me? So those are the kind of questions I'd ask.
Yes, so I did. I had a whole discussion with, I talked to the Little League organizations around us. So we have had that discussion. The rec board would like to look and see. Again, that would be starting a new charter, that kind of thing, to have a parent-run, another parent-run association. With that, I did ask them, do they think that parents will be willing to volunteer? Because we get
Well, that point it comes off of you.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So if we try to go back that route, then we don't offer it, then we're going to catch the flack of, well, now where are we going to play? So just trying to make sure that if we do go that route, that we help establish that, maybe not, not financially, but just help get it started. By going to associations, then that would cut your administrative staff down. So we would probably go back to where there's, only 2 people in the office. Because at that point, if you're only facilitating, then you're not really coordinating.
Those are the kind of things that we need you as a department head to be balancing as we've had discussions through the year, talk about difficulty getting umpires and those kind of things. I see that as a potential solution if the organizations become responsible for that anyway. Just want to make sure that we're thinking along those lines and not just doing things the way we've always done them because it's the way we've always done them.
If we can move into a situation where we have the fields, we provide the fields for a minimum fee, it would be in everybody's best interest not to catch those phone calls. Because those phone calls will go somewhere else. They'll go to that group to complain, to Facebook, everything else. All we do is furnish the fields, provide you an environment. You bringing in the teams and your employees.
Not the total number of people who utilize our rec department, but the number of participants. I don't care that a kid comes over there and plays t-ball, softball, volleyball, and basketball. But the total number of how many people do y'all have as clients, let's say, or customers, participants?
So we have about 1,600 kids, participants.
Is that different
That's for the
kids,
years.
or is that total number?
That's total number.
All right. What I want to know, would you say that then there's 900 different kids or 800?
I would say probably about 900 different kids. Just for.
Now you're doing math like me now.
I just got that. I can't use my phone.
Y'all told me you can't do this. So what becomes interesting is taking your total budget divided by the number of people served.
And then in theory, that can be looked at that way. But
You have to also account for all the non-traditional programs like dance, pound, yoga, those participants as well, in that number.
But
yes.
As a business owner, you would want to see that number. As a government, the number equates a little differently because most all services are not 100% funded by user fees.
Correct.
EMS, obviously, sheriff, obviously. Water happens to be, but if you continue to grow your system, it won't be either. You're showing just as much going out as you got showing coming in. But in theory, I see what you're saying, and it is good to know where you're at with that number.
Well, just for
What'd you come up with?
giggles here, you're spending, and here again, this is for giggles, we're spending $1,250 a piece, basically for the use of the rec facilities and all like that. But if you take our total budget and divide $29 million, round numbers, among 33,000 people, you're spending $879 per citizen for use of the limited county services that we offer. And I'm talking, sheriffs, EMS, roads, and everything like that. And I guess as a business person, what I would see here is we've got something along the lines of essentially a $400 shortfall for the citizens group over here, 33,000 total, but we're going to take 900 separated and put them over here. We're going to spend
150%,
30+% more, for that. So I guess the challenge I would say for you guys, Shelley, and what y'all need to be looking at is for a continuation of the services at the level that we are offering now. Y'all need to figure out some way to become more user fee self-sufficient. And I know, and here again, I would agree with Todd, our friends on Facebook, condemn all that and what everything costs, but at the end of the day, I would lean towards the other 32,000 people in the county that aren't getting anything from the rec department then. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So, I would seriously like for y'all to look, to explore greater use of our facilities based on activities that pay for themselves.
The rec department, and this is an old number from 2 years ago, the rec department per $1,000 tax bill, that taxpayer pays $15.37 per 1,000. It's about 1.5% of your overall number. And if you look at it from a large picture, 1.53% of our total budget goes to rec department. And that was 2 years ago numbers. Now, that is operational, what Dennis is talking about. The 900 kids divided by that is operational. Now, if you try to take their users and start from scratch, and you got to build $30 million worth of facilities, or even $10 million worth of facilities, now you just threw your number out where you just throw your hands up and say, no, we're not going to do this. There's only 900 people coming. I can't build a new gymnasium for $10 million. The math wouldn't work.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. If you look at it from a business sense, somehow I would like to see you guys approach where the fee structure picks up a greater portion of the cost to operate.
100%. So there's a way to do that, and you see that with MCYA. You go to their little football games, and you pay $5 to get in to your kid's football game. If you go to Little League, if it comes back, that is a for-profit organization. I mean, they don't want to, it's still going to be a for-profit. They're going to charge you to come to the game.
They don't charge fees
Really?
for a regular season game.
Well,
The playoffs, they do.
well, okay.
The only time they
So
charge.
the whole deal with the Little League going back years ago, there was a lot of money discrepancies. And so that money's coming from somewhere.
They charge to participate in the little
Well, they charge a fee to sign
program.
up.
Okay.
They have sign-up fees, and then they only supply a shirt.
No, they do, but the teams also seek out
The
sponsorship.
teams do sponsorship.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they
You know,
They
so
have per
there's,
child.
they become self-sufficient.
So, and it may get to the point where, let's just say, it ain't but $1 a head for the parents. But then you gotta get in to have somebody stand there and collect $1. And you gotta weigh that out. Now, granted, on a Saturday afternoon, when the rec department's full and there's 800 cars in the parking lot and 3,000 people there for the day, it'd probably work out. You would probably benefit. During the week, on practice, stuff like that, no, that's all free. But that's the way MCYA does, and obviously it does pretty good, to offset their costs. So it may be something we need to look at as a user fee. And for me, sitting at my desk, is I have to think about all the people, what ambulance service costs, and how many people that don't use the ambulance service. 20,000 people, we run now about 6,000 calls a year. Most of them ain't even required of an ambulance, but that's what we have to do by law. But that means that 28,000 people didn't call.
If we maintain an ambulance service.
Yeah, and we do.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If we maintain an ambulance service, then we have to answer every call. And that's one of the things.
It runs through 911, we have to answer. If they call 911, we got to return. So I'm just saying, when you go to doing numbers that way, if you start thinking about the people that's not paying versus the people that's using, that math would have to be looked at across the board. But either way, I do think there's a user fee. But now, granted, I know how that's going to work on Facebook.
Yeah. Okay, so going into, programming expenses, want to go back to, so you see at the bottom of our operational, it's our principal and interest, that's for the turf tank painter that we have to paint all the soccer fields. We only have 2 years left, it's next year in 28. And so then after that, we would have to, reevaluate, if we wanted to do another lease of that or not use it at all. So just FYI for that one. Programming expenses, so you'll see, so our part-time seasonal program expenses are there. There's request, what's requested is without doing the county operating concessions. So for that, going on through there, the only things that we really need to discuss are some RFPs. So we have our, actually, let me go back, sorry. Go back to operational, recreation, grounds, our lawn care. So we've been using True Green for lawn care, like spraying and maintenance. And the recommendation is to continue with that service with True Green as well. We had 2 bids, True Green and then Limited Lawn Care. The just field maintenance with Unlimited Lawn Care is a little over $6,000 more than the True Green bid. So we would like to continue with True Green, even with adding the additional weed control with True Green, which they have bid out or put in their bid. There is a $4,000 difference, but Unlimited Lawn Care is not providing that additional weed control. So the recommendation is to go with True Green, and that is factored into the budget request for that.
And those were an apples to apples?
Yes, they were apples to apples. The under programming expense, so let's talk about, so event shirts, day camp, our dance shirts, those type things, we did a bid for those instead of having to repeatedly get quotes every time we do those. And the recommendation is to use Fit to a T for all of those shirts for any program or event shirts, as programs being non-traditional school dance, and then day camp, and then our Halloween park and reindeer run. Those are the ones we do shirts for.
All right. Fit to a T, we have, are they in Madison County?
Fit to a T is in Commerce.
I want to see all the bids on that. I know we have 4.
So if you'll look at your sheet, your little packet, the bids that we received were from Fit to a T, Ryco, and Cal Peace Soccer.
Who?
Exactly what I said. So 2 out of 3 I've never heard of, but those are the bids that we received. I did email out the packets to the Madison County businesses who offer shirts, and I did not receive any bids from anybody.
There's 4 of them, and nobody put in a bid out of 4.
Nobody emailed me back, and nobody submitted any bid to Christina.
Then I want, okay, so it's RFP.
Yep.
Now, most of these guys are a lot smaller, they're probably not even familiar with an RFP.
So,
unless somebody sit down and explain to them what an RFP is.
Well, and I will say that Fit to a T, Danny did call and ask for clarification.
RFP was?
Yep, for clarification, and then he had no problem submitting a bid.
You did that via email?
I sent, well, so we have to post in the paper, so it was advertised, accepting the RFP. It's on our website. We submitted, we did Facebook posts, and then I also directed.
Facebook is nowhere near legal organ, and emails don't count.
But I directly sent it to them via email. I met all the requirements that the county And so for the Madison County businesses, I directly emailed those individuals. And previously, they've never had issues responding back to email.
It's just hard for me to believe that no, one of 4 T-shirt places in this county chose not to want Madison County's work.
I'm
So
not saying that they
I get
didn't
it.
choose to, I'm just saying that,
I want a physical call made to all 4 businesses and tell them that we're gonna send over an RFP. Are they even interested in it? And why didn't they respond? Yeah. I know that's an extra step, but I do believe that these smaller businesses like this one down here, I think my shirt on your back.
yeah, I can't get him to ever answer the phone.
Yeah, it may not, and it may not, but if you reach out and you don't get anybody, you leave a message, you ain't heard back from them in 2 days, fine, so be it. I don't know that any of these guerrilla graphics, they even understand what RFPs are. They're too small, they don't understand that, but they're still in this county.
To be honest, I didn't even know that Guerrilla Graphics even still existed.
And I think they're at Island now, right? Yeah.
I don't
So-
think, they're not at the school, so I don't know.
It ain't just about this. I mean, I've always had heartburn using businesses outside the county. Same way with our plumbing service, same with electrical service. It's not just this, it's not y'all.
Right,
I
and
just
I
try to-
understand that.
Yeah, I try to extend all my resources,
It is I mean, with Fit to a T, I mean, the owner is a Madison County resident. His business just happens to sit outside of the line. But,
Where does he live?
Danny is a Madison County resident.
Okay. I just still want to
But-
make sure that
but,
all the other ones knew it happened, and they physically say, no, we're too busy, we ain't got time. If they say that, that's great.
So I've made a note to, call everybody about that. The other one that we have is regarding, athletic equipment. So the bids, that we received for athletic equipment were from BSN Sports and from Shuma Sports. The recommendation is to actually, utilize either one of those because some of their items were cheaper for one sport, whereas for another sport, they were more expensive. So, just depending on the product that we were looking to purchase, so the rec board said to utilize both and not have just one equipment vendor for that. That number is also reflected in the budget request. Athletic uniforms, so always a big one for discussion. The recommendation from the rec board is to go with a company called Go Sports for baseball, softball, and t-ball, and then go with Shuma Sports for the other programs. This is because Shuma Sports we have utilized for the last 2 years. The experience that we've had with them has been wonderful. No issues. We have never used Go Sports before. And they come in, their bid is very, very low for programming or uniforms. And the concern was because of never having used them before, can they handle the amount of orders that we have? So the rec board has recommended to use them for baseball, softball, t-ball, as that is slightly a large order, and seeing how they can handle things and manage things. And then if we have a good experience next year and they submit another RFP, then we know moving forward for 28 and everything that the experience has been good, bad, that kind of thing.
So do they send you a shirt? This is the shirt we'll be using. This is a style lettering. Fill it. Touch
Yes,
it.
so
They do that.
they don't do that with the RFPs, but
But they will.
this guy has come by the office multiple times, bringing shirts and wanting to do our business, and I had to explain to him that we do the RFP process.
Sure.
So again, every one of them got email, like directly, hey, everything, RFP is open, here's where you can find everything, that kind of thing. They submitted their RFP. So when you're looking at quality, the material and everything, as far as sublimation goes, is similar. It was the locations of where those are made. One is made in Pakistan, one is made in the Dominican Republic, so, and turnaround time. Those are kind of the things that the rec board looks at. I will say when you look at your sheet, the recommendation with baseball, softball, and t-ball, it is a full uniform. So it is jersey, pants, belts, and socks, and hats for baseball and t-ball. And then for softball, it is the jersey, belt, pant, and long socks. No hats because softball players don't wear hats. So those are full uniforms. So again, it's going to be a trial run with that. And those
As a
numbers.
general rule, all the uniform costs are covered in the user fee.
Yes, it's part of the user fee. Yes, sir. The only thing that's not part of the user fee is the All-Star, because that is extra. That is something that we may send a team or we may not send a team. So, and that cost is reflected in the budget request.
Right.
One thing with the revenue side that I wanted to ask is, so right now we have our photography who we use for pictures. All of their rebates are going into a line item that is, separately designated. But on the other side, where it was originally going to our scholarships, currently right now the scholarship revenue is very lacking on people wanting to purchase signs, to advertise, to sponsor teams, those type things. And so I would like to see, I've talked with Susan, any company that we go with next year for photography, if they do offer a rebate, that we take those rebates and put them back into the scholarships. We have a very large number of participants who are utilizing our scholarship program now, and it's for the entire year. They'll play multiple sports. In the spring, they'll come and they'll play, and then they'll play in the fall, they'll play basketball, that type of thing. So that number is much larger now with the times. So we would like to see those funds go.
So if it's the same child, multiple sports, we need to make sure, because you're limited on your scholarships. So if you pick up a scholarship in the spring and you have more kids than you have scholarships for, it should not go back to that same kid in the fall. Another kid needs an opportunity to pick up the fall.
So that would just need to be changed and updated in policy, because there's not a designation of that.
Yeah, I mean, now if there's extra funds left over, well then sure. But I don't want to disqualify a kid that didn't get to play at all because one guy got 2 scholarships.
Right, no, I understand. I'm just saying, like, we'll just have to update that in our.
I just think for it to be fair, you could still request it for, let's just say, the fall, but let me get all the new ones in first that didn't get a play in the spring, and then we will shell out the extras. I'm just trying to give the maximum amount of kids an opportunity to play at some point.
How much is this sports photography contract?
So we don't we don't pay them for anything. They give us back rebates about $8,000. And
how much revenue did they generate out of that rec department?
There's no telling how many.
I don't know. They give us back 33% of whatever they.
33 times 8.
So they make $24,000 something like that.
And that's it's a lot. Yeah, and that's good. But it's so individuals who ever purchase, and then that's what we get off that. So.
I mean, quite honestly, Shelley, I'm not even sure why we would be involved in that. I mean, I live in a world where on bid day, I gotta put my best number out there that day. And I don't live in a world where I have to give money back to do business with somebody.
And we don't require that. It's
Well,
just something.
no, we are requiring that. If we take money back from them to allow them the opportunity to do what they do at our facility, then why not just pass it back to the consumer rather than their picture be $24 for a pack of pictures, make it 16. You see what I'm saying? That way, we're not touching money that we hadn't earned in this whole deal. There's just something about, forgive me, but it's a kickback.
Yeah, I mean, but it goes right, and I hear you, and I'm not disagreeing with you at all. But again, it's a way to offset the same as creating user fees. If you're gonna offer a service, they're trying to get a little bit of something for covering that service. Because they use our field that day for pictures. We have to prep everything for them to come out. It's a way to offset that day's cost to be able to hold those pictures.
And the pictures are entirely optional.
They're
That's all
all
optional.
Are they the only person that makes the photographs?
They're the ones that we have the contract with for this year.
Be very careful what we're saying. Do we enter into an agreement that they're the only people that can set up on that field to make photographs?
Yes, for the year.
For the year, because it's a contract.
But the contract goes out to everybody.
Right, RFPs goes out to everybody.
Yeah, it goes out as RFP.
Yeah.
You're picking the one.
Yes,
And it's not based off of the kickback.
no.
It's based off the price.
Correct.
I say kickback.
And in the past, they've been, in the past,
We live in that world, that's what it is.
but in the
You know,
past,
call it
they've been the
anything
only
you
one.
want to.
But we have had, numerous people have reached out this year. And they're all, wanting to put in bids and do things. I mean, the ones that do for the high school sports, I mean, our Facebook post about it has completely blown up about people interested. So hopefully we'll get a lot of companies, especially local ones, that are interested in offering the service.
Good.
So, any other questions or?
Well, and I heard what Kenny said too, and I don't disagree with him, but, understand that the rebates that did come back from sportography were turned back into the rec department. Up till this 27 budget, all of those monies were set aside to do some kind of renovation or maintain like bathrooms and whatever was needed out there. This, for 27 budget, whether it's photography or whether it's another company, if those rebates are coming in, she's requesting to put that into the scholarship fund, because what was going there was coat rebates and Kona Ice rebates when they came, and the coat rebates are going to pretty much
They
go
will
away.
be much smaller by us not,
Because
the county
we're
not running
concessions. So, because we're not doing concessions, we're not buying Coke product. Now the concessionaire will be buying the Coke product, so that rebate will go to her.
well, I don't know that they have it.
But, yeah.
And
If there was one.
it's a balancing act, trying
Yeah.
to figure out, is it better to try to offer it in such a way that it's less expensive to the participants, or that we gain that opportunity to spend those dollars elsewhere in scholarships. So it's a balancing act. Just make sure we're measuring all those things
Right.
as we make that decision.
And the unfortunate part from a user standpoint or a parent, if we charge $50 or if we charge $5, somebody's gonna complain about it. If it was free, they would complain about it. And I'm not being disrespectful, it's just the fact of the matter, that's what they do. We would like to think that we're offering it as cheap as we possibly can, but it still ain't gonna fit somebody's needs. All right.
I do want to put out, because we've been talking about it, so the concessionaires and the photography are due, September 3rd. There is going to be an email.
Proposals are due.
The proposals are due, yes, sir. The volleyball program, the coaches have been really pushing this the last few seasons on wanting additional gym space, figuring out how to get additional gym space because we do utilize the school system facilities. Currently we use our gym and then the middle school. The elementary schools don't have their volleyball hole sleeves, so it's the holes that the poles go in. So those facilities don't have them. The parents, this season, the coaches have really pushed, and I told them it's not something that we could do. It's not our facility, it's the school system, so they would have to be willing to put in this lease. So I have been the facilitator between those parents and the Board of Education, the superintendent's office, regarding putting whole sleeves in Whole Stanford Elementary School. The school system has been very supportive of this. Obviously, as long as it's not coming out of their budget, again, it's not going to be coming out of our budget either. It is a fundraiser that these parents would like to do and put towards. So they are reaching out. They're going to be reaching out to the parents to see any donation. It's going to cost approximately $1,800 to have these holes put in at Whole Stanford. And then we already have our own equipment, so there's no equipment cost or anything involved with that. I have talked with Susan
You don't have to
about.
buy extra netting or extra poles?
We don't have to do anything. We already have everything that we need. Yeah. So I've talked with Susan about it because in my mind it would have been easier just for the donations to go directly to like Whole Stanford, and if anybody wanted to write a check. The superintendent's office would rather a one lump check come from the rec department. So I've talked with Susan, and we can take in those funds and earmark it and then directly send it out, since it's no actual revenue with that. But just so that y'all are aware, that'll give us another facility to be able to use for extra additional space, since our volleyball program is one of our largest growing programs that we have.
Well, you gotta remember now, when the public does it with their own funds, they're gonna feel entitled.
Oh, yes.
So about the first time that one of the key parents gets escorted out, I paid for that.
Yes.
Just remember that. That's
Yes.
where the conflict comes in. And then the school's sitting there like, but you're using my facility, you can't act like that.
Right.
But it's the rec department. That's a lot of convolution in all that.
Yeah, we have a good, that the volleyball is one of our quieter sports with things like that. So, but just so you know, there is a lot of things going on in the department this year. Land and Water Grant, there's lots of projects going on, a lot more grant projects looking at. But that is all for 2027 budget today.
Thank you, Cheryl. Yep, well, thank you.
Capital outlays, gentlemen, do you have a copy of these?
Cheryl, you hang out just a minute. That's it.
Yeah, Shelley put this together, this was not.
Yeah, I provided the
Yeah,
gateway.
she
I know
provided
you emailed me
Okay.
Friday,
Oh, I
so
just
that
wanted-
was just,
Yeah, this was not for discussion. I wanted everybody to just take it home and look at it, but we also got to think about some of the other capital outlay stuff, which we've not got to in the budget. So I'm glad you brought this early.
Yeah.
Because they ain't seen our other capital outlays, but they'll go ahead and focus in on this.
yeah.
Right.
And there are things on there that, we already have a couple grants that are in the process for, as well, so.
Yeah.
Who, is Angela running your grants or reviewing them?
Yes, sir, Angela's writing all of our grants, she's handling that. Our land and water, conservation fund grant, we are going to be asking for an extension, on, to be able to try to finish, the project.
Okay.
But she is handling all the grants, writing for that, and, as far as I know, also for the senior center.
We've been able to handle all of our portion of that in kind.
Yes.
Not in kind. It's.
No, not all of it. No. We are using a lot of.
We are using a lot of in kind, like we can submit, just like with FEMA, the employee, pay and hours and whatnot with equipment and everything. So we are submitting that, but the majority currently is coming from our, 2020 SPLOST for the rec department, for land and water.
They've done a really good job of doing the in-kind work. One of the things on this list that I'm still not sold on, and I know a grant was sought after for the walking trails of Diamond Hill Complex, and I think we even got the award on that grant.
So we are in the final stage, yes,
Yeah.
of that.
I'll just be honest, if it falls through, I'm gonna be okay with it. I mean, that's just so much more work for the current staff to do. Maintaining trails is a liability. Somebody trips, falls, and that's a lot.
That's kind of a gorge back in there anyway.
It's dangerous, and I mean, it would be pretty in theory, it's a great idea. But to have your guys trying to maintain that on a regular basis, after every rain, you don't know what new gully washed. And God forbid, if you don't catch it before somebody steps in it, now you're gonna pay for it.
Yeah. And I understand that. That's, the trail system is something that's part of the master plan, the overall master plan.
I get it.
And everything. It's one of those we apply and we, saw it stuck and it stuck.
Yeah.
So, the public is the input that we received for that has been very good.
Yeah.
On it, more areas, to do that. But yeah. Any other?
The more we have, the more we have to maintain.
Right.
Shelley, nothing to relate to budget or anything?
Well, Susan mentioned volunteer days. I've had a couple other, individuals reach out wanting to help towards the in-kind of some of our grant projects and things like that. So I just got to figure out, what that process is for us as a county, to get that together. So.
And I guess I would agree with Todd on concerns related to the trail at Diamond Hill more so than over to rec department. Has there been any thought in part of that process at Diamond Hill, if we were to be successful with it, have you thought about additional cameras for security and
yes. So we actually am waiting on a quote back from Albert on additional cameras at Diamond Hill.
is that going to be part of the grant, or is that?
It's not part of the grant, but it's extra. But it may be something that, again, working with Angela with all the grants, we've been able to, anytime we have questions with things, she's been able to look and see if it's a way to do it with dealing with safety that we're able to accommodate. So we're working and doing our best. But yes, we are trying to figure out how to get more cameras for that, especially that lower area at Diamond Hill, because we currently don't have that there.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. No others. Do you have anything to mention, sir? Appreciate you coming today.
I'm just here to learn.
We appreciate it. Well, if there's no other discussion, this meeting is adjourned.